Good morning, garden lovers. I hope you're well. I'm sorry to bombard you with all these videos, but there is so much in bloom. I'm having trouble keeping up. Today we are going to look at this central bed here. Now this is my biggest border in the center of my garden. That's why I call this the central bed. I think there are 17 roses in here. But also there's a lot of perennials and also south cedars. In fact, this is one of a south cedar. This is Nigella, also known as cornflower, I think. Really nice, frothy kind of foliage. Very fern-like, whispery. Really nice contrast. And I have a peony here. Gorgeous flowers. Now this central bed here, I do try and keep the palette to a pink theme going on here, so there are no oranges or yellows. So let's start with this lovely bloom here. This is Timeless Purple, and Timeless Purple I have recommended before as a replacement for Munstead Wood. It's a very healthy rose, quite large. You can see it reaches all the way over there. Really large, beautiful rose. Now I won't smell this rose because I might fall flat on my face because it is quite far from the edge. So that is a Timeless Purple. Moving along here, we have what I call my experiment. These were some cheap climbing roses that I got from J. Parker's, and I didn't really think much of them, and I put them all in the same pot. But as you can see now, they flowered. This is Blue Moon, also known as Sissy. It's a climbing rose, but they're quite short climbers. So I bent the canes round and round to create this kind of domed effect. And I did smell this earlier. It's actually very fragrant, actually. There's a trio of roses here. The first one to flower. This is Zephrine Druhin, a thornless climber, and also one that grows in semi-shade. I do have another one growing at the back in the fence, and it's doing okay. But this one is, because it's an extra, I put this in with these flowers here. So now we have Zephrine, the pink one, Sissy, the Blue Moon here, and I also have one that is very famous. This is Iceberg. So it's a white flower. It's a white rose, and here it is. It seems to be growing well together. So I have like a bouquet in this pot here. Just going to swing you round. One that's in flower is the gorgeous, I think one of the most popular David Austins out there, and one which is quite old. This is Gertru. I think at one time, I'm not sure whether it still stands, the title of the most loved rose in the UK. Zephrine Druhin. Mine is not that big because it has moved house several times. It's moved from here and there, didn't do so well, and I moved it here. And I believe this spot is where she'll stay now. She looks quite happy here. We've got some stouty alliums. And there's a couple of roses here as well, but they're only tiny. This one is a line Renaud bare root that I got from Town Centrum, and my second Scepter Dial, hoping that one might grow a little bit more in the coming years. So moving on to the other side now, I had put a path of stepping stones in the middle so I can access that head and smell the flowers, but it looks like that's almost grown over. Okay, right, now we move on to this side. Side is the most congested, and also the most of the roses are on this side. We'll start off with this one here. That is crazy amount of buds. Look at that. That's coming from a side stem. Oh, I'm not sure whether you can see it. Look at that. It's coming from a side stem. And look at the leathery leaves. Wow. This is Carmen Worth, also known as Adorable Perfumer. Not quite in bloom. Like I said, the Kordes roses seem to start a little slower. Next to that is another rose called Gentle Hermione. Not quite in bloom. And my favourite, my all-time favourite, let's put it this way. This is Meal on the Floss. Looking really healthy and big. Oh, and this ferny thing here is actually an asparagus. I'm trying to grow the roots, that's why I let it grow. So trying to get the energy from the roots. I think it'll be years before I actually harvest any asparagus. But I thought it was quite pretty. It's got little bells on these I don't know, leaves. And a lot of self-seeders, look. They've got like foxgloves, aqualegias, and all these self-seeded. I didn't know this area was going to be so congested. This one here is one of my brother's recommendations. This is Sir Emmanuel. That's going to look great. Oh, and another peony here. So it's quite nice colours, right? From the pink aqualegias here. Very pretty. Nice companion planting. It doesn't compete with the roses and yet just adds a bit of colour. So we have purples, pinks and whites in here. Really gorgeous. This one here is a cutting of Olivia Rose Austin. Even the cuttings are doing well. That's really lovely. And its neighbour is Elizabeth. Really healthy rose. The leaves are so leathery. Strong rose. The stems have clusters of little blooms. I would say this is my favourite of all shapes and size, I mean, where it's born in smaller blooms and yet several of them on the same cluster. Lovely, healthy plant, good fragrance. And yeah, this is one of the ones I had a blind stem on and I deadheaded it, and now we've got some new growth. So that is Elizabeth, and next to that is Ancient Mariner. This is very much like Olivia Rose Austin, but it has more fragrance than Olivia and a much taller rose. Also, look at that, a cluster of these blooms. Here we have a rose that's also very healthy. Big pink blooms, good fragrance. This is Lovely Perfumer, also known as Summer Romance. One of the most popular roses in the Perfumer collection. Really lovely buds, lovely blooms, and very healthy. But wow, look at that new cane coming through. I love it when I see a new cane. This is complemented by the pink geranium, very low growing perennial, easy to divide, easy to grow, and very carefree. That's a nice combination there. And This knout here, honestly, it is just become such a thug in this border that I have to cut it back in autumn and divide it up and plant it elsewhere. All right, let's try and make it to the center. Let's try and get in the center here without tripping over. You see these stepping stones. Right, I'm going to show you it looks like a standard tree, but it's not. This is actually a very old cane which I've turned it into upright, and I've made my own standard tree. So this is not a shop bought standard tree. It's just a very long cane with a lot of growth at the very top. This is Shandos Beauty, also very, very beautiful. But look at all that new growth. It has a very nice shape this year. In a previous year, it had this really, really spidery long cane, like an octopus cane. It threw up so tall. But this year, it's looking really good for me. Lots and lots of buds on that. And below that is a rose called Furel, I think Furel, from Kordes as well. And it's very, very healthy. Imagine this is a bare root planted only a few months ago. I'm looking very forward to that. And next to this, we have a cutting that I got from my brother's garden. This is Royal Jubilee, quite a tall bush, and flowering very soon. That's the timeless purple there. Shall I attempt to smell it? Let me see. Shall I attempt to smell it? Oh my goodness. At the moment, early in the morning, it has a slight delicate fragrance. So this is my central border. Here's this rose called Emily Bronte. It's looking most perfect right now. Perfect as in there's some open blooms and buds and nearly open blooms. Really, really good stage. Beautiful. Very, very healthy rose. Really beautiful colours there. Soft peach. Not a bright pink. And as you can see, there is a button eye in there. That's the most open bloom. Gorgeous clusters of flowers. So you can get a long flowering period. Now, I did have a few cuttings from this. This one is a 3-year-old cutting. I gave my 1-year-old cutting away to a family member during the barbecue I had a few days ago. Very, very healthy rose. The flowers are just covered from bottom to the top. Really lovely variety. Well, I'm going to finish this video with a look at 2 plants I potted in a pot a few months ago, and they were supposed to be a good team, a good union. This is a short climber called Strawberry Hill. Really, really strong fragrance. Look at that, so beautiful. And this little dainty clematis was supposed to be companion planting, and as you can see over time, it has totally dominated this rose. And I can't feed the rose without feeding the clematis. And you see how sorry for itself it looks, totally overshadowed by this clematis here. Actually, it reminds me of a relationship. Now, how many of you guys can relate to this? Who can relate to this? I know a certain person I can relate to this. Did you know this rose has a second name? This rose is also known as Kenvum. So on that note, I hope you have a lovely day.